Okay. Now it's not picking me up on the camera. Strange. Okay. We can do this without people seeing my face on the computer, right? On the recording. That's okay. So listen, we're going to try something a little bit different today, and we're going to start to introduce a number of what we call the intangibles of being a route leader. We've been spending a lot of time on agronomic issues, and we will continue those, but we're going to try to change it up a little bit and talk to you a little bit about some of the things that are important as far as being a route leader and what we're looking for in a route leader. So in regards to that, we're going to be talking about number one up here today, route leaders' expectations and duties, being a good employee, being a professional, so forth and so on. That is the topic for today. In subsequent topics, in subsequent presentations, we're going to talk about time management, what you should be doing in the morning and what you should be doing in the afternoon, routing, how to make your time on a lawn as efficient as possible. We'll be talking about customer service and notes, paperwork systems, all those types of things. And then finally, we're going to be talking down the road about mobile live use, truck organization, and teamwork. But today we're going to be talking in just very general terms about route leader expectations and in general, what makes somebody a good route leader. So first thing, in terms of just discussing what makes a good route leader. If we take a look on the left-hand side at route leader performance criteria, one of the things that we look at is that we look at and evaluate everybody on as far as the quality of the job that you are doing. First and foremost is customer service. Are you friendly to customers? Are you good with customers? Do you talk to customers? Do you leave good notes? So forth and so on. Are you good at diagnosing problems in lawns? Obviously, you can diagnose drought in lawns after we've been through the last several weeks. But now that we're coming out of the drought stress, are you still looking for chinch bugs? Are you starting to look for grubs and all of those types of things? Do you understand the products we use? Are you using the right product at the right time? And are you applying it correctly? Teamwork. Are you a team player, or are you somebody that wants to be by yourself? Are you somebody that isn't willing to share? Are you somebody that isn't willing to help other employees? Attitude in general. Are you a good person? Are you an up person? Are you not a downer person? Are you in general a good employee that other people want to be with and other people want to be around? Finally, productivity. Okay, which we're going to spend some time on today, because productivity is one of the most important criteria around which we will evaluate your performance. By productivity, general, we're talking about the number of stops that you can do in a day and the dollars that you can do in a day. An important caveat to that is how many stops are you doing in a day? How many dollars are you doing in a day without a tremendous amount of overtime, which is always a challenge? And are you doing it in a way that you are doing your job in a quality fashion? Are you doing a good job on the lawns? Are you taking care of the weeds? Productivity is one thing, but you also have to be balancing that with making sure that you're doing a good job and making sure you're doing what is best for the customer. So on the right-hand side here, when we talk about productivity, let's talk about why productivity matters. And a number of these things should be obvious to everybody. However, sometimes they're not, and sometimes it's important we think about it. Why productivity matters, first of all, we've got to make sure we cover our costs here at Seascape of overhead. That's everything from the trucks to the fuel to the materials to this building, the people who work up front who aren't doing lawns. That includes a little bit of pay for me sometimes, a little bit pay for Michael at times. All of those things are important, and we have to make sure if we're going to sustain Seascape over the long term, we need to be productive enough that we're covering all of those overhead costs, in addition to the cost of employing you and making sure there's some money left at the end of the week for you folks. Keeping applications on time. This service that we offer to customers is only going to work, and the customers are only going to be happy if we get to their lawns once every 5 to 6 weeks. Over the years, I've seen a number of companies get behind, and then all of a sudden in October and November, customers are finding that they're getting 3 applications. That's no good, okay? We need to keep on track as best we can to make sure everybody is getting their applications spaced out once every 5 to 6 weeks. The other reason we want to do that, however, is we know from years in the business that when somebody goes beyond 5 to 6 weeks, all of a sudden they start to have problems in their lawn. They start to have grubs, they start to have weeds, and if we go beyond 5 to 6 weeks, all of a sudden our service calls take off, and then we're finding ourselves spending more time doing service calls than doing production to generate revenue. So productivity is important in terms of keeping our applications on time. Profitability, which I know some people think is a dirty word, but if we weren't making a little bit of profit, we again wouldn't be in business. If we weren't making profit, we couldn't pay you. We couldn't afford to give you a raise. Hopefully, we're going to give you a raise every year. And what I say here is important, that the most productive people make the most money. Okay? I know you get paid by the hour. I know you get paid, you don't get paid by the job, you get paid by the hour, which is intentional because we want to make certain that you do a good job and quality service. But the balance between productivity and customer service and being able to balance them correctly, satisfy the customer, but still make sure you get your work done, is very, very important in terms of our productivity. And we can assure you, Mike and I can assure you, that we know who the most productive people are around here and who bring back the most in terms of the amount of expenditure we have to keep them on the road. Okay, there's a lot of different things that will relate to your level of productivity. Not all routes are the same, not all trucks are the same. Your level of experience is all the same. So when we talk about what level of productivity is expected, okay, there's a wide range from employee to employee and from route to route. So just very quickly, your experience, obviously, you're not going to walk in here on day 1 and be as productive as you might be in year 2 or 3. Do you have a Z-spray or don't you have a Z-spray? We're fortunately at the point where just about every route has one now. However, a few years ago, only a few of our routes had Z-sprays. Having a Z-spray makes a huge difference. Having a second man or woman makes a huge difference, and especially having a trained second person is going to make a big difference. Distance to your route. If we compare somebody going to Sharon, Massachusetts every day to somebody going to Coventry every day, obviously the Sharon route is not going to get as much done, and that technician isn't going to be as productive. Density of the route. We've got a lot of customers in places like Coventry and East Greenwich and North Kingstown and even Sharon. We've got a lot of other towns, particularly towns in Connecticut, towns in Rhode Island like Foster, Gloucester, and Burrillville. The routes are not as dense. It takes you longer to get from one job to the next. You're spending more time driving than you're spending doing applications and generating revenue. So that's important too. Normally in the fall and spring, we're able to get more done. Okay, the applications are easier, the weed control is easier. We're not battling nutsedge and crabgrass and drought, and customers come out to say, what's wrong with my lawn? Okay, so normally in the spring and the fall, we're expecting more production. In the summer, We expect less, we don't want to see less, but because you have other things to do on the lawn, okay, and the lawns are struggling and it takes you longer to talk to customers, we normally expect less production in the summer than in the spring and the fall. Lawn size. If I wanted to go out every day and do the most production possible, I'd want to go out and do 8s, 9s, and 10s, 8,000, 9,000, and 10,000 square foot lawns. If you're going out and doing 20s and 30s all day long, you're not bringing in as much, you're not bringing in as much revenue. If you go out and you're doing 1s and 2s and 3s all day long, you can't write paperwork fast enough in order to bring more dollars in. So guys and gals that are going into towns with 8s, 9s, 10s, 11, and 12s have got an advantage in terms of being able to do more dollars and be more productive during their day. Where we are within a round, okay, we have applications 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As we move through an application, okay, and we get more and more customers done, the routes become more spread out. It's not like you can go down the street and you can do 5 or 6 lawns on a street. You maybe have to travel from one end of the town to the other to do cleanup at the end of the round. So typically our production is much higher at the beginning of the round. It's much lower at the end of the round. If we throw things at you like surveys and service calls, that's obviously every time you do a survey and service call, you're not generating revenue. However, they're still very important to us and our success. And obviously you've got traffic issues, okay? You've got weather issues. So when we say so-and-so is more productive than so-and-so, we have to take a look at all of these different variables when we evaluate somebody's level of productivity, all right? Which means it's not real easy, okay? There's a lot of things that are going on. So if we take a look at daily expectations and break it down into number of stops per day, and I say here average number of stops on a good day because some days you have a good day and some days you have a bad day. Let's assume you are in a close route. It's a nice day. It's not raining. You don't get stopped by traffic. You don't spend too long at Dunkin' Donuts. You're having a good day. If we look on the left-hand side here, we basically send crews out in one of 2 formats. Several of you will be going out with a Z-spray and with a second man. Several of you will be going out with a Z-spray and you're working all alone. We have some routes that go out only with a hand spreader without a Z-spray, but they still have a second man. And other routes will go out with a hand spreader and they're working alone. So all of those formats, let's call them that, okay, are going to influence how many stops you're going to do. Looking then at the column headings here, okay, we've got 3 different types of routes. A tight route, let's say a Coventry, close in. A tight route, close in, Coventry would be the best example. East Greenwich and North Kingstown or Warwick would come in second. However, in a place like Warwick compared to Coventry, oh God, I got traffic, right? So that's a fact. So next up, after a tight route close in would be a route that's got some drive time. I've got to drive to Narragansett. I've got to drive to Cumberland. As opposed to in the last column here, not a dense route, and I've got a big commute. All right. So you can see here that the number of stops per day and what we generally are expecting and how we're budgeting, we go from a high of 22 from a route that's got a Z-spray, 2 men, and they're close in versus down to a low of 14, which would be somebody not in a dense route, big commute, and all he or she has got is a hand spreader. If we send you to Ledyard, Connecticut, and then we're sending you to Burrowville, and then we're sending you to Pontiac, and all you've got's a hand spreader, and you're all alone, if you can get 14 stops done, you've had a pretty good day. All right. So all of this is to have you recognize that Michael and the other guys that are pulling routes and putting together cover sheets, take all of this into consideration when routes are pulled and what we expect from you on any given day. So let's talk a little bit about route leader training. Okay, and you must be, number one, a good employee. And I can't read this under here. Oh, a professional. Okay. I want to talk to you about what it takes for you to be a good employee. And secondly, what it takes for you to be a professional route leader or customer service representative or lawn technician. So what does it mean to be a good employee to the boss? What's Michael looking for from you to be a good employee? Number one, call if you're going to be out or late. Okay, even 5 to 10 minutes. Michael's here every morning at 6:15 to 6:30. By 6:30, he's hearing from people, I'm not coming in, I am coming in, I'm going to be late, so forth and so on. If you're not going to be here or if you're going to be late, we need to hear from you because he's by 6:30 in the morning, he is rearranging routes. Okay. If one of you guys is going to be a route leader and your second man isn't coming in, Michael is scrambling to find you somebody else that can go with you for the day. Don't be 5 minutes late every day. Boy, is that a pain in the ass, especially to the person you're going with, because they probably got here at 6:30. Now they're waiting until 7:10, 7:15 in order for you to show up. It screws up everybody's day, gets everybody off in a grumpy mood. So you don't want to be 5, 10, or 15 minutes late every day. If you're going to be 5 to 10 minutes late, everybody has a problem. Everybody gets stuck in traffic. Call us and let us know what's going on. What are some of the other things the boss is looking for? Next up, call if you're having a problem with production. If you go out with 18 stops and at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you come back with 11 done, we should have heard about the problem you were having at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We could have gotten you help, okay? We could have done something in terms of lightening your load, either sending another truck to you or sending somebody to you who takes some stops from you, okay? So we like to hear earlier as opposed to later if you're having a lousy day. If you're having a problem with equipment or your truck or anything else, there's 1,000,001 things that you might be having a problem with that are screwing up your day. We like to hear from you. Michael or one of the team leaders wants to know what's going on with you. We don't want a surprise when you come back in at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Why are we out so late? Well, I couldn't get off of the lawn talking to a customer, which, by the way, there's an knack to doing that. We'll talk more about that a little bit later on. Yeah,
It's a thing.
it's a thing.
It's, you know,
Yep.
it's absolutely. It's just a scale, right?
So real quickly, the easiest way to do it is say, excuse me, sir, but I've got another appointment I've got to get to. I'm late for an appointment. Okay, that's the easiest way to do it. The boss is looking for you to take care of your equipment, report problems. We hear all too often that my Z-spray or my spreader or whatever isn't working right. How long's it been like this? It's been like this for 2 months. That doesn't do anybody any good. It slows you down. We want to know of any equipment problems so we can get them fixed as quickly as possible. And when I say equipment, I include in that your truck as well. Turn in all your paperwork, work orders, done and undone, DOT forms. We don't want you to hide anything from us. We've got to have your work orders back every day so we know what has been done. We know what hasn't been done. We need to get undones back into routes for the next day or the following day. Doesn't do you any good or us any good or the customer any good if you think you're going to hide an undone, because it's going to come out of the woodwork at some point. Everybody's life in the office, as well as your life also as a route leader, is to make sure that you get to your must-dos in specific days. Okay, we have a lot of must-dos. We have a lot of specific days. We try to minimize them, but you've got to make sure that you get to them. If you're not going to get to a must-do or to a specific day, it's your responsibility to call the customer and say, I'm not going to make it. All right? Because while the customer doesn't have to be home, many times they are home because they want to see you, they want to talk to you, they want to talk for 40 minutes, or they have left the gate unlocked, or they've kept the dog inside or something. So it's not fair for us to promise a customer, we're gonna see you Tuesday, and not just show up without a phone call. All right? To the boss continued, and I put there because he's an important person. Treat all weeds well, because as we repeat all the time, weed control is the most important thing we do. A customer would far rather have a weed-free lawn and it be yellow. They don't want a dark green lawn and it to be full of weeds. Weed control is much more important to our customers than color in the lawn. Be honest about mistakes, challenges, customer issues, report accidents and mistakes. Use your discretion in terms of needing to call somebody during the day. Use your discretion in terms of, well, I can talk to somebody about this at the end of the day. But it's important that you be honest about mistakes and challenges and customer problems. We can't help you if we don't know about it, okay? We've never fired anybody here, well, maybe one. We've never fired anybody here with one exception, and is as far as making a mistake, okay? All mistakes are gonna happen where you're on 15 to 20 lawns a day. Company-wide, we're on 400 lawns a day. Stuff is gonna happen, okay? We understand there's gonna be mistakes. Support company policies. There's certain things around here that are company policies that you might not disagree with, or what you might not agree with, okay? It's important, okay, that you don't complain and you don't badmouth the company in front of other employees. If you do that, that's gonna get around. It just isn't a good look, and you're not supporting things that we need you to do and why we have certain policies here at Seascape.
And that's exponentially more important as you go up the chain, the food chain. When Mike becomes a route leader, when Ashley becomes a team leader or a trainer or whatever, as everybody shifts up, that becomes more and more important. It's one thing for a second man to grump and complain about something, and for somebody in a management position or supervisory position, oh, this is BS, and this is, this is this, and like, it's not good. It's not awesome.
It's not good. Ensure you have all your licenses are valid and not expired. Okay, we spend an inordinate amount of time trying to track you down in terms of, I need a copy of this, or that license is expired, you need to do this, you need to do that. You need to take some personal responsibility to periodically look through your billfold, make sure everything is valid, nothing needs to be renewed, so forth and so on. Be available to work some in parentheses, Saturdays. There's nature of our business, it's just impossible to totally avoid Saturdays. We have some people who are very good at coming in on Saturdays when requested. We have some people who beg off every single Saturday. We ask them to work. Again, your boss needs you at least some of the time on a Saturday to help us get work done. Something that's really bad, okay, is to say I'm going to be here on a Saturday and then not come in on a Saturday. That's really bad. We'd like to know the day before if you're not going to make it, okay? But try your best. I know Saturdays are tough. We all have personal lives. Saturdays are tough, but at least be available to work some Saturdays. Find a way to get stuff done and not find excuses to bring stuff back, okay? If you have a problem with during the day that something's holding you up, preventing you from getting work done, call us. We can maybe help you. We can maybe suggest, oh, go to the hardware store and buy a paper clip and stick it in the doodad, okay? There's a lot of things we can do. There's a lot of ways you can use your imagination in order to keep things rolling throughout the day. If your Z-spray breaks down and you've got one job left and you're out in Franklin, Massachusetts, spread it by hand, okay? Spread it by hand. It's not the end. It's not the end of the world, all right? So find ways to get stuff done, ask questions finally, and communicate. Probably the most important thing in terms of getting the support of Michael and other supervisors here. We like to hear from you. We'd like to know what's going good, what's going bad, and ask questions about anything that you don't understand. Something I said just a moment, quantity versus quality, getting the most work done without sacrificing lawn quality and customer service. It's a delicate balance. You're in charge of making it work, and a good route leader can balance both. Spending an inordinate amount of time with the customer is one of the biggest problems that we have, and the biggest thing that holds us up, Mike. And you've got to be polite, you've got to spend some time with the customer, but you shouldn't be spending 40 minutes with a customer answering questions. The easiest way to get out of that after 10 minutes is to say, you're gonna have to excuse me, I have to get on with finishing your lawn. I need to get to another customer where I have an appointment, and they had they had a very tight window.
Don't say something like, oh, I got a lot of production to do today, because that takes your mouth. But if you say, you use the phrase, I have another customer waiting for me, that's a customer service issue, and most people are cool with that, and I understand. But we say it like that, that generally ends the conversation. Not always, but that's a fairly polite way to.
The other thing we oftentimes make mistakes on, if you're with somebody else and the customer comes out to talk, the other person that you're with should be starting the production, should be starting to get the work done. I've been on a lot of lawns with different people where I've spent 30 minutes talking to the customer, and when I'm done, my second person then is all done making the application to the lawn and completed the paperwork. So if the customer wants to walk around and look at various issues, that's for one person. That isn't for the both of you who are in the truck. Okay, so what does it mean to be a good employee? All right, just some things for you to think about. To your coworkers, okay, goes a long way if you offer assistance to coworkers that are behind or having an issue. That goes all the way from, oh, before I leave for the day, let me help you load your truck. You're in the route next to me, and I've heard you're in trouble for the day. I'm all done. It's 1:30. I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna take a couple of jobs away from you. A lot of goodwill with your coworkers, and a lot of goodwill with your managers. Okay, don't be one of those people that says, nope, I'm done, and I've got blinders on. I'm not gonna find out if anybody needs help. I'm not gonna be the kind of person who, when I'm done at 2 o'clock, I'm going home and not offering assistance to somebody else. So that goes offering assistance to your coworkers when you're out on properties, as well as helping them out as best you can when you're here at the warehouse.
And let's face it, like, we've all had days where just no matter what you do, you're just getting your ass kicked, and you're struggling, you're mentally having a tough day, and around the corner comes another big seascape man ready to help you. It just makes you feel good, it makes you appreciative, and it gives you a huge mental boost. And it's every time somebody's come to help me, I've always really appreciated it. And when that person needed me, even if it was way out of my way or whatever, I always make a point to go make sure I help those people when they never look at it. It's this place works so much better, and it's so much better. It's so much better in a customer service organization, and it's so much better of a place to work if we're helping each other. We're not, 80 individual employees or we should be one team. And I know there's days it's just, I gotta pick my kid up, whatever, but man, you can help out. It just makes such a.
And how do you say? Dave came and took 3 stops off of me.
I
I was able to get all place we got done.
couple
But my next time for that work, go in your backpack. And I dropped the tip of that into the full backpack, and it was just. Yeah. Thank you.
couple of weeks ago, I had to run around because we got a ton of service calls. And I make summer because I'm tearing and other stuff, and I'm getting my ass kicked. And around the corner, I was in the neighborhood, Lynch came and helped me, Paige came and helped me, and Loudon came and helped me. And I just felt so much better, like, not alone, you know what I mean? Like, people are here to help me, it's so freaking important, you know what I mean? And that's one of those things, it might not show up on the stat sheet, but man, when we're looking at who's a good employee, who's this, it just, and it's not just the owners to the bosses to the managers to whoever, it's your coworkers. You're helping your coworkers.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It just,
And
just works.
we remember that, like, you know,
Exactly.
the next time they hear you're in need.
Exactly. I'm coming at you now.
Yeah.
Yes,
For instance, yesterday, you know, me and Dylan all day, well, like 3/4 of the day. It pretty much,
It makes such a difference. Makes such a difference.
we have to do it around.
Okay, so next. Don't be part of a clique, okay? Don't complain about others or spread rumors. This isn't high school, okay? Hopefully the cliques are gone. You're over that. You're more mature in regards to that. We hear all too often that this group of people doesn't talk to that group of people, or this division doesn't talk to that division for whatever reason. There's a million different reasons, but you don't want to be part of a clique. You don't want to get involved in that kind of stuff. Second, men and women, second men, second people, okay? It's your job as a route leader to mentor and respect those people, and especially be patient and teach, all right? Far too often, we will dismiss somebody who isn't picking something up too quickly, and we'll get mad at them or feel as though, well, they're never going to be good at this job. We have a lot of people here who are very good at their job, who are only good at their job because that we taught them, but we were patient with them, and it took them time to learn the job. One of the best employees who's since moved on, one of our first employees, he didn't leave Seascape, he retired from Seascape, but for the first 2 years, he could not walk a straight line with a fertilizer spreader. Okay, you'd say, Joe, see that tree over there? Walk right towards that tree. And it'd start off and then it would be a right angle, right? So, but once he figured it out, he was one of the best employees that we had. So we can't be too quick to dismiss people who aren't picking things up, whatever it might be at first. Be patient and be respectful. Be respectful of people in the office. And I should have put that in red. That's a big, okay?
I'm a huge advocate for the office after working in the
Yep.
office.
People, I hear far too many times, this person was shitty with the office, or this person got mad, oh, time out. You know, everybody, whether you're a center man, a route leader, somebody in the office, a manager, nobody on this crew is any better than you. So shut the hell up and treat everybody well.
Well, and as Ashley will know, the people in the office, they have a tough job, okay?
They take the brunt of everything. You
Yeah.
know, they're dealing all of those irate customers.
Say, they're getting the angry customers
Yeah.
all day.
Absolutely.
Even, you know, that's why a lot of times when I have, you know, service calls, if I'm not writing up like the proactive service call, but I know you put something in, I make a note on my cover sheet and then I do that at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Because sometimes trying to call in and get a hold of someone in the office.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Because
They're on the phone
every
all
single
day long.
person's on the phone, they may have, you know, that person's on hold, they're in the back looking for a route, looking for a specific invoice. And, you know, it's, you know, I commend the work that they do in the office.
Very good. I'll have to make sure they all listen to this video, so. Finally, on this slide, keep things clean and organized if you use somebody else's truck. I don't know if you've ever had the experience of not being here for the day and somebody else took your truck and left it trashed, whether it's in the back or whether it's in the cab. That's just totally disrespectful. So if you find yourself using somebody else's truck, make sure you leave it the way you found, or better yet, make sure you leave it better than the way you found.
In the opposite is true, just because you have a assigned truck, you don't know if you're calling in sick, you don't know what's gonna happen to you the next day. Leaving your truck unfilled, leaving fertilizer, leaving shit tipped over, leaving teacups, leaving, I mean, all the crap that goes in there. To be the guy that, or the person that bounces from truck to truck to truck to cover sickles is A, one of the most important jobs in Seagate. But B, having to go work with everybody else's crap every day just to do your job, it's not fun.
Okay, what does it mean to be professional to the customer? And all of these should be obvious and common sense. Be on time for appointments or call. If people are waiting for you, they're looking out the front window, if they expect you to be between 10 and 11, and it's now 5 minutes past 11, they're beginning to panic because they have to leave for a doctor's appointment. They want to know if you're going to show up or not. Okay, so do your best to be on time. If you're going to be late, you've got phone numbers for everybody. Okay, call them and say, I'm very sorry, but I'll be there in 10 minutes. Okay, doesn't take you more than a second. Return customers' calls. I know you don't get a lot of calls from customers, but on occasion, a customer will call here and we need to leave you a note to call the customer. Don't blow those off. Those are important. If you do return a customer's call and you have to leave them a voicemail, make sure that, or don't assume that they got your voicemail. Kids come in after school, they erase the voicemails, they don't tell their parents. That's all, important. So don't assume because you left one voicemail, you're done and you can wash your hands of it. It's important that you perhaps call them a second time to see if you can reach them. Always knock, all right? I say that repeatedly, you probably get sick of it. I hear way too many stories of people not knocking, okay? That's only pure courtesy in order for you to do that. Don't smoke on a lawn. I don't think either one of you guys smoke. You do, okay? We expect you not to smoke on a lawn. Okay, smoking out on the street by the truck as best you can out of view of the homeowner, I suppose is acceptable. But customers can really take offense to your smoking on the lawn. And never leave a cigarette butt on a lawn. That's something that I would really take offense to. Take a minute to answer any questions to customers. Be polite, be courteous. If it turns out to be this is getting out of control, excuse yourself politely and say, I've got to move on because I need to get to another customer's appointment. So we have to be polite and we have to be courteous and answer questions. Don't walk over issues. Take care of them and make a note to a customer. If you see if you see bare spots, if you see a lot of weeds, if you see red thread, okay, whatever the case might be, okay, you've got to take care of that issue. You've got to let the customer know what you have done. Because if you're seeing weeds or red thread or grubs or whatever the case might be, the customer, if they haven't seen it already, they're going to see it very quickly. Okay, so don't walk over issues. Don't assume the customer knows everything. Okay, today or this week, this is the 85th lawn that I've been on that's got nutsedge. Do I need to leave another note about nutsedge? Yes, you do. Because the customer is not looking at those other 85 lawns. They're looking at their lawn and their lawn only. They're probably seeing the same nutsedge that you're seeing, and they're wondering what's going on. So don't walk over it. Don't assume the customer knows what it is. Don't assume, for example, the customer knows that brown spot out there is bent grass and it's going to recover. Okay, I like to hear customers complain that Ashley's told me about that bent grass every application for the last 5 years. I know what bent grass is. She's got to continue to leave the note. All right. Leave good notes, leave fact sheets. That's self-explanatory. Follow up on issues or requests. Okay, this is a pet peeve of mine. And this is when a customer asks you to do something for them. Would you please have the office call me? Would you please tell the office that I only want my backyard done in the future? Would you please send somebody out to look at a tree or a shrub or whatever? Okay, it's your responsibility to let the office know the customer needs something. Okay, you need to leave them a note. You need to leave them I'm communicating with the office form. Okay, in any way you want to do it, but it's important that you do it. One way that is not acceptable is to write on the stub that we bring back with us, because nobody really looks at those stubs. Okay, those stubs, which we used to have to go through one at a time, we no longer have to go through those because of mobile live. So if you need to bring a note back for the customer to do something, you have to make sure they see it. And you have to return it on the cover page and point it to somebody. Just don't, point to it. Use the form that we provide to that. Okay, because if a customer's asked you for something and the message does not get back to the office, we're going to hear from that customer again, or we're going to get a bad, God forbid, Google review. All right. Again, should go without saying, be in a clean uniform. Try to occasionally keep your shirt tucked in. You got to look 100% more professional. Finally, what does it mean to be a professional when driving? Obey all speed limits, especially in residential areas, especially when kids are out waiting for school buses. Okay? Every year we get 1 or 2 phone calls from somebody calling to say, your Seascape van just went through my neighborhood at 50 miles an hour and the speed limit's 25. We don't like getting those phone calls. Don't forget, you are a big rolling billboard. Everybody's gonna know who you are. Drive courteously. Don't be an aggressive driver, okay? Stay out of the high speed lanes. There's no reason for you to be there. Do not tailgate. I hate it when people tailgate on me. And when people look in their rearview mirror and see a great big truck 2 inches off their rear bumper, they don't like that. I don't like that. So again, you're a rolling billboard. Don't smoke in the truck. I see service people smoking in trucks, and I think it looks extremely unprofessional. Okay? Don't smoke in the truck. Maintain.
You have coworkers who may or may not be allergic to smoke or sensitive to smoke or whatever. That I've had numerous employees tell me and say, I can't work your truck. You know, whatever, because the previous person smoked and then over just. Forget it. Again, I get all the reasons people smoke or whatever, but it's not relevant, not much.
No.
Not really.
Keep your truck clean and organized, both in the cab as well as in the back. When you're making applications, people are walking by, they're looking in your truck. Oftentimes, the customer will come out to talk to you. If you've got Wendy's bags and napkins spread all over all over the front seat, it just looks very messy and disorganized. So if they're seeing an unclean truck and a disorganized truck, they're gonna assume, well, that's the way you're gonna treat my lawn. Okay, so keep your truck neat and organized. Okay, plus it just makes the day a lot more professional and a lot more pleasant for you. And finally, keep in mind, it is against the law for you to use your cell phone or for you to text while you were driving. Okay,
Okay.
any other questions?
I did have a customer today who's telling me he has all of his paperwork dated back to 2014